Welcome to my tutelage, where we take ourselves lightly, our education seriously, and our coffee decaf. It's so sad. But my name is Madeline, and I am a tutor, although I moonlight as a reader. Today we're talking about reading quickly. If you have a lot to read in a short amount of time, whether you're a student or you're preparing to take a test like the SAT, or you just have to read a lot for your job, then you need to learn how to read efficiently and quickly without wasting time. There are actual speed reading tips that you can find online, but since I am not a speed reader, I won't be sharing about using your peripheral vision or using special apps or training your eyes or anything like that. I'm just going to talk about reading quickly because I can be a fast reader when I need to be. In college, I was assigned hundreds of pages of reading per week and I had to get it all done. So these are my tips for just reading quickly. Note, while these tips will help you practice reading quickly, they are not specifically geared for reading during the SAT or ACT. That is a different video for a different day. Number 1, eliminate distractions. The biggest hindrance to reading quickly isn't actually your innate reading speed. It's the distractions that make it take longer than it needs to. So, put your phone on airplane mode and on the other side of the room. Turn off the music unless it truly helps you focus. Don't let yourself get drowsy. Don't putz around looking for drinks and snacks. Just read. Number 2, have a reading plan. If you've got a lot of different things to read for school, choose what you're going to read before you sit down so that you can use the reading time for reading time, not making decisions. So, which book are you going to read? How many chapters? Are you going to read articles? If so, how many? Having a set goal will help you have a sense of accomplishment after you're done. Number 3, set a timer. Especially if you are reading something dry or tedious, you can't expect yourself to sit down and read for 3 hours straight without stopping. You're going to need little breaks, so use the Pomodoro technique. Set a timer for 15 or 20 minutes, read, then 2-minute timer for potty, drinks, stretching, then another timer for 20 minutes and read. And that way you'll break it all up into much more manageable chunks. Number 4, scan. You've been hearing about skimming and scanning since elementary school, but do you really do it? You don't have to read every word on a page in order to get the message. Especially in nonfiction, not every word is important. Scanning is for when you know what you're looking for. When you do research, not every resource will be relevant, and you won't want to read every book and article in its entirety. Let's say you want to research nonviolent protests and you take out a book on Gandhi. As fascinating as his biography surely is, you might not have time to read it all the way through, so rather than start with his birth, you'll want to use the index and the table of contents to find the parts that focus on his philosophy and on the protests that he led. And then you will scan the page looking for that information. Number 5, skim. Skimming is a lot like skipping. You're looking for the main points of the argument and skipping the rest. Unlike with scanning, you don't know exactly what you're looking for or what to focus on yet, but you're trying to understand the argument as quickly as possible. If there's a table of contents, that will often outline the argument for you. Then each chapter will support these points, and you'll have to skim to find out what those points are. Your friend is the topic sentence of the paragraph. A well-written paragraph will have one main point that is then supported by the other points. If you don't have a lot of time, you don't necessarily need to have all of the information that supports that main point. You just need to read all of the main points in the chapter. So focus on usually the first or last sentence of a paragraph will help you get the argument very quickly without reading the whole thing. Then you can skim back through the paragraphs and look for anything that might be more specifically relevant, like statistics, like names, like dates. Also, you might find it useful to use a highlighter or a pen while you're going through this so that you can highlight the argument and make it very easy when you are returning to this resource to know exactly what it says. Number 6, don't subvocalize. Have you ever noticed someone moving their lips while they read? Little kids do it, but older people do too. In fact, most of us tend to subvocalize while we read. That is, a little voice in our head says the words to us. We hear a little voice reading aloud to us. And actually, even if you're not aware of it, your larynx might be doing the work of talking while you're reading, even though you're not speaking out loud. And you might even move your lips occasionally. This keeps your reading pace at best at the speed of a very fast talker. So try to read too fast for that little voice to keep up. And number 7, don't backtrack. When you're reading in your head, your eyes often dart back to the beginning of the sentence or paragraph that you just read to confirm what you just read. So it's a lot of rereading that your brain is constantly doing. And while this can help with comprehension, it can definitely slow down your reading speed. So getting in the habit of not letting yourself reread any words will really improve your reading speed. So try using your finger or a pencil to follow along the line and don't let yourself reread words. So, those are my tips for reading more quickly. If you find while you're reading quickly that you can't understand what you're reading, slow down and read at a normal pace. That's okay. It's more important that you understand what you're reading than that you read quickly. In my next video, I'm going to talk about why it can be a good thing to read more slowly. If you liked this video, please subscribe. I post videos about education, reading, and writing twice a month. And until next time, my name is Madeline, and this has been my tutelage.